Trick shots are undoubtedly one of the most entertaining things in the golfing world, and that's pretty understandable considering the amount of work that goes into getting these trick shots right. It takes an insane amount of practice and very good hand-eye coordination. Keep on watching as we take a look at some of the best golf trick shots. First, surfing the golf cart. This insane driver trick shot is by Coach Rusty and Joshua Kelly. Though it's clearly very dangerous and high risk, it's also straight up impressive. At the start, Coach is on top of the golf cart roof while Kelly is driving it down a golf course. While driving, Kelly is simultaneously juggling the ball on his club. He then heaves the ball up to Coach, who knocks it down the range. The level of coordination, balance, and extreme focus that is required for this trick shot is pretty insane. Next, shoulder chip, run, and pin. Second on the list of trick shots is one that's an advanced version of another shot. For this shot, the golfer Andreo chips the ball over his shoulder, runs, and goes to tend his own pin, and watches as the ball smoothly sails into the hole. As we said, a shoulder chip isn't new and definitely not unheard of. However, a shoulder chip paired with tending your pin afterwards is definitely new. The level of skill required for this is honestly painful for those of us who can barely make a 2-footer, but the trick shot is definitely very remarkable. Next on our list is Taylor Laybourne's incredible toss and catch. Considering the difficulty level that's already associated with the backswing, this can be a fancy and frankly daunting replacement. So it definitely won't be stress-free, but it will leave people in awe, which in itself is a pretty big accomplishment. To start off, Laybourne at first holds the club head and then tosses the club backwards. He then catches it by the shaft over his back and thumps the ball down the range. We have the clip of this trick shot on repeat because the smoothness with which Laybourne pulls it off is just captivating. Now, the wakeboarding shot. If some of you don't know what wakeboarding is, it's where you stand on, well, a wakeboard and are pulled along the water by a motorboat. Now, you may be wondering what this has to do with golfing. Well, Coach Rusty makes it onto our list of incredible trick shots once again with his boat to wakeboard shot. For this trick, Coach has a guy throw a ball from the boat, which he then thumps as he is wakeboarding. It's clear that Coach Rusty may be a bit insane, but his boldness always makes for incredible shots, so we're not complaining. This particular trick shot will require good balance, focus, and a whole lot of skill. Next, the most elaborate trick shot ever. Euronews said this particular shot may be the world's most elaborate trick shot ever. That is indeed a big praise, and rightfully so. This shot was arranged by an English snooker club, the All-Star Bristol Club specifically, who spent the entire night setting it up. The trick shot takes a whole 2 minutes and already had over 1 million views just 2 days after the video was uploaded. It's difficult to explain what exactly happens in such a detailed and confusing shot, but it starts off with a golf ball going down a staircase, which triggers a delightful sequence of events that takes place over 9 pool tables. It ends with the golf ball eventually going into a hole all the way at the club's bar. After watching the trick shot, it's easy to understand why it took the people at All Stars Bristol over 8 hours of preparation and 50 snooker cues. Up next, Phil Mickelson's backwards shot. Phil Mickelson's backwards shot is definitely an obvious pick, as he is a confirmed maestro of the short game. It is quite a useful move if you ever need to get out of a severe slope. Mickelson did this particular trick shot once at an AT&T Pro-Am, and it's been an iconic shot ever since. The shot requires you to get under the ball and then flip it back in the opposite direction. It's quite tricky, in theory, and in practice too. But with a lot of work, you could get Mickelson's famous backwards shot right. Next, cup, walls, and some chairs. Whoever said golf is strictly an outdoor sport hasn't come across the iconic trick shot by Brodie Smith. This shot requires the player to bounce the ball off of a wall, onto a table, over a couple of chairs, and finally into a cup. The shot is crisp and extremely satisfying. Not only is this trick shot very creative, but it also requires a lot of dedication to get it right. Just getting the right spin and force to make the shot alone can be a huge headache, but then there's also the correct placement of chairs, the table, and the cup. We can't imagine the amount of work Smith must have put into this trick shot. Next, Tania Tare's iconic trick shot. This particular trick shot is considered to be one of the best trick shots by a female golfer, and rightly so. Tare juggles the ball on an iron, then takes it under the foot and tosses it, expertly catching it on the back of her neck. The pro golfer then rolls the ball down her back, jabs it with the underside of her foot, and finally knocks it onto the fairway using her driver driver club. This shot certainly requires a lot of coordination, balance, and also agility, so it's no surprise it's considered to be one of the most top-notch golf trick shots. Next, the fence backwards shot. Of course, we had to include the top draw backwards shot by Matt Wheatcroft, which is definitely a worthy rival to Phil Mickelson's. Wheatcroft was stuck close to the fence, with barely a foot's distance in between. He had the difficult task of somehow getting the ball onto the green. Luckily enough, though, there was a main fence post that was perfectly lined up with the flag and the ball. Wheatcroft managed to hit the ball against the fence, up over the tree, and had it land barely a foot from the pin. It's an absolute delight to watch, and is definitely one of the most iconic trick shots out there. Now, the slick golf shot. Golf trick shots are only getting more and more elaborate, and a lot of golfers are straight up killing it with how slick their trick shots are. Next on the list is another shot that proves it, going in the sequence of pick, kick, and flick. In this, the player picks the ball with his club, kicks it with the back of his inner foot, and then flicks it with his driver, finally setting it up to smash the ball down the range. This shot teaches a lot about coordination because the whole thing hinges on harmonization. Up next, Tare footwork shot. You really shouldn't be surprised that Tare is showing up on this list again. She is at the top of her game and isn't showing any signs of slowing down. This shot in particular rivals golf trick shots such as those from the Bryan brothers, so it's a must-have for this list. For this shot, Tare shows off not just her golfing skills, but also her football skills. She picks the ball with her feet and then instantly starts juggling it on her iron. It's important to mention that she had a driver on her left iron. At that point, she tosses the ball into the air, uses her underfoot to flick it, and then at last sends it flying with her driver. This shot, of course, requires a lot of skill and practice, but it also requires a good deal of athleticism. Next, MGM Grand and top golf shot. You can't mention trick shots without bringing up the Bryan brothers. You just can't. They are arguably the most consistent when it comes to golf trick shooting, so the MGM Grand shot had to make it to the list. The duo are on top of the MGM Grand roof and have the insane task of having Wesley hit the ball from George's juggling into a target on Topgolf. The duo actually managed to pull it off with little to no effort, which is just ridiculously impressive. Practicing this shot will definitely help a lot with precision, but it's doubtful that MGM Grand will let you practice on their roof. Lastly, Mason Gnome pool shot. This trick isn't from a professional golfer, but rather a 13-year-old named Mason Gnome. Don't make the mistake of dismissing the shot just because of that, though. It may not be from a pro, but it's still pretty darn neat. For this shot, Mason skips the ball across a pool and straight into the hole. While doing it once could have been a fluke, twice makes it legendary. This trick shot can also teach you about solid ball contact as well as accuracy. He also made another video where he modified the same shot. He modified the trick by getting more spin on the ball and having it roll back into the hole after skipping over the pool. That's a wrap for this video. What are your thoughts on these trick shots? And did you get inspired to try some of them yourselves? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.